Welcome to AT&T headquarters in Dallas, Texas. The AT&T Discovery District is a new downtown destination where tech, culture, and entertainment combine to create unique experiences. Step foot into our 20,000 square foot campus and visit our AT&T flagship store. Enjoy multiple dining experiences and explore endless fun. We're thrilled to kick off Small Business Week live from AT&T's headquarters.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here and for helping us kick off Small Business Week. Thrilled to be here today with an amazing panel to talk about the power of adaptability for customer service. So just a few things before we get started. Did you know that with businesses of less than 500 employees, that they make up for 48% of jobs in America and 43% of overall GDP for the country? So I just really want to commend small businesses for all their hard work. And just take a moment to honor all the small businesses that made it despite a global pandemic and all the challenges and everything we've just kind of had to figure out on the fly. And so just take a moment to honor small businesses, honor yourself if you're a small business owner. And I'm so excited to jump into this conversation today with fellow small business owners from the area and with leaders in technology from AT&T Business and Square. So with that, let each of the panelists introduce themselves. And Roshan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Roshan. I'm the general manager for retail at Square. And my team focuses on a sub-segment of those small businesses Georgina was speaking about, retail sellers. So we focus on inventory and order management. I'm excited to focus on small businesses, not only because they make up such a vital part of the economy, as Georgina mentioned, but because they represent the world that I want to live in. I love vibrant main streets and downtowns, and so I feel very personally connected to making sure that small businesses can thrive.
Jennifer?
Oh, fantastic. I am Jennifer Van Buskirk. I work here at AT&T, and I have the privilege of leading our organization that serves small and medium-sized businesses here in the United States. And as someone that has led a startup in my past, I've got tremendous empathy and admiration for all that our small business owners go through every day to serve customers and innovate. And so I am honored to be up here today with all of you.
Thank you. And Brian?
I'm Brian Casad, owner of Paradigm Gym. Also, I own a couple other businesses. One is a franchise gym, so you can imagine with the shutdown, it really hurt us. And so each one of my businesses, it's a little bit different. It's kind of funny. We have different clientele with each. So each one poses a different challenge that we have to overcome on the daily. So that's what we do.
And Kara?
Well, thank you, Georgina. Yes, hi, everyone. I'm Kara Brindley, the owner of Karadise Boutique, and I'm also the styler and buyer, and like all small business owners, all the other little things. But a little backstory, I actually spent 25 years in the retail automotive industry, worked my way up and became vice president, general manager, and decided to start something new. So I found a beautiful location over in Adriatica Village, which is in McKinney, Texas, north, about 25 miles of Dallas, where we are today. And started my business in April of 2019 and married and 2 beautiful dogs.
Amazing. Thank you. And I'm your host, Georgina Miranda. I'm the CEO and founder of She Ventures, and I work with entrepreneurs and business leaders all around the world to help them bring their mission and visions of their businesses to life across all different capacities. And technology plays such a critical role in that, right? It really opens the doors to accessing the world if we want. So speaking of, let's jump into our conversation today. Let's talk about the importance of adaptability and some of the big changes we've seen in business make in the face of all these ongoing challenges and ongoing headwinds, if you want to call them that. And Jennifer, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. It's probably the biggest understatement ever to say the last few years have been just unprecedented. And really having the opportunity to serve our small business owners, to survive and thrive through the pandemic has been really rewarding work for us. I mean, you think about the key changes that have come around through that, everyone's had to adapt to serve employees and customers in new ways in really short order. And so when you think about what our employees and customers want, it's really three key themes that we've been changing to do. One is around flexibility. They want to be flexible in how they interact with your business as employees or as customers. They want simplicity. So make it easy for me, right? Help me simplify what could be complicated. And they really want to feel valued and heard and supported. And so a lot of the innovation that we've seen in the last few years has been around these themes. So how do we create new business models to serve customers in different ways? How do we help our employees engage remotely and in new ways so that they feel part of and connected with the business also? And so technology has been a real key enabler in all of these themes. So whether it is keeping your employees connected, whether they're remote and working from home, having technology to help support that, whether it's creating video calls to help have actual meetings instead of in-person meetings, right, or all of the innovations around serving customers. That's really exploded in the past. And so technology empowers things like mobile check-in or the rise of the QR code in restaurants, and that's never been more popular, or everything just ordering via digital overall. And so it's been really remarkable to see the transformation in the industry and how quickly our small businesses adapted to these changing needs. And I'm excited to see how technology has helped bring some of those changes to life.
Amazing. And it's incredible because there was not really much time to course correct, right? We're just, like I said earlier, so many small business owners had to just figure it out on the fly, right? Building the plane while you're flying, so to speak. So, Roshan, what have you seen?
Yeah, so really great points, I think, that Jennifer raised. The ability to adapt in the first place can really be enabled and unlocked by technology. I think, one of the things that I've been proud to be a part of Square in kind of helping small businesses is that, we started out with the ability to accept a payment almost anywhere, and that was kind of like what a lot of folks know Square for. As luck would have it, we've invested a lot over recent years in omni-channel experiences, in more robust inventory management and order management, and as a consequence, when you found retailers needing to pivot during pandemic to can't sell anything in the store, have to sell it online, or restaurants that had to very quickly move to a majority or exclusive takeout model, or maybe some of them were selling groceries, right? Their ingredients as groceries instead of meals. Having a technology platform that allowed you to make those pivots was instrumental, right? And allowed people to really just conceive, what do you want that business to do next? What adaptation are you interested in making? And having a great technology solution to empower that is everything. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. It takes a lot of the training and the pain and the time, right? Because time is rarely on your side as a small business. We know that a lot of small businesses have, precious few weeks of cash reserves when things go wrong. And so the ability to quickly adapt is instrumental. So like I said, just have been really proud to be part of a company with a comprehensive enough set of solutions that we could enable those adaptations.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm excited to learn more. We'll be sharing a little bit more about an exciting partnership between AT&T and Square shortly. So let me segue over to Brian and Kara, because you've adapted and overcome so many challenges, I'm sure, over the last couple of years, right? And what did it require? What did it take? How did you care for that change, like in your customer service experience in particular? And Kara, let's start with you.
Okay, well, as I mentioned, since we had opened our doors in April of 2019, it's really had consisted of all transformation, still has. But I would say, I've always believed in community over competition, and I realize the importance of community, and I know that people want to do business with people and people that they trust. So I also know that cheap isn't loyal, but I believe that customers and people will invest in you if you have a mission and something that they believe in. So when I saw that the pandemic was quickly shutting down cities and countries everywhere, I kind of had to think fast. And with 25 years of running a successful Toyota dealership, I had some experience, so I knew how to pivot and knew I needed to quickly. I immediately realized that social media and video were kind of starting to take over people's lives. They were really starting to use that for an outlet and entertainment. So I kind of jumped on that. I thought TikTok was only for, 14-year-olds and teenagers, and quickly realized that there was people were spending 6 to 8 hours a day on TikTok. And so we jumped on that. We were using TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and we were using different ways to kind of promote our products. Along with the funny videos, right? We would dress up in our outfits and, show people how you can walk your dog for the 18th time that day. But at the same time, we were also coming in and we would rotate into the store, which was closed at the time. And we would do product try-ons. So I would maybe try on this outfit and I would describe the fabric and the fit and the feel, and almost like a virtual try-on. So I would be trying it on for you. And people really liked that. They engaged. They started messaging us. So I realized, though, that although everybody was still working from home, 85% were still on their mobile. They were still watching TikTok and Instagram from their mobile. So we got cell phones for our employees, so we were able to respond to those customers quickly and take their Venmo or whatever we were taking at the time, because everything was shut down. And we started delivering. We started delivering to porches. I'm sure a lot of businesses say they were the first to do that, but we quickly started delivering to our community, and we really started focusing on self-care and comfort. So I had just stocked in all these cute dresses for summer, but instead I was selling, self-care packages. I was selling candles and lounge sets, and a lot of people liked loungewear. Masks, I must have sold 20, maybe 2,000 masks to everyone. And we kind of just learned to have to adapt. I mean, I think that would be the key. And I was able to keep 100% of my employees. My precious husband would give us a map quest, and off on a map we would go, and one person would go out and do the deliveries while one would be in the store doing these virtual videos, and we just kind of made it the new normal.
I love it. And, it really speaks to, meeting your customers where they are, right? So if they're on their mobile, meeting them there,
Absolutely.
Speaking to them there, engaging with them there. I don't know about you, but working from home, when you're on Zoom all the time, I'm into the loungewear set, too. It's you want to be comfortable, but you also want to look cute. So yeah. I could see how that was a big hit.
Yeah.
And Brian, you had a whole different set of challenges. You run a gym, and you want people at your gym. So how did you adapt?
Yeah, so with the gym business, we base our business on memberships, and it takes 2 to 3 years to build up a solid membership base. When pandemic hit, that cut everything in half. We either put people on hold or we canceled those memberships. Now, all of those memberships didn't come back. We're probably still operating at about 80 to 85% of what we were pre-pandemic. So there were different challenges in that we couldn't operate exactly the same as what we were pre-pandemic. We had to make cuts where we needed to. We had to cut some of our hours, but at the same time, there was something that we needed to add on that we were missing. And that was creating a 24-hour access format. So I kind of changed my business model in creating a 24-hour access for my members. Therefore, I was able to cut down my in-person staffed hours. Then it enabled us to have lower overhead, enabling us to ultimately survive the pandemic. And that's been our kind of savior. And that's where, having that connectivity for our 24-hour access, we can't have any interrupted, internet, Wi-Fi, anything like that, because it will cause issues for our members. Our members would go up to the door, Wi-Fi's cut out, that means they can't get access. Then you're creating another problem. People start canceling, so on and so forth. So that's what we had to do. That's what we had to create. And, that was probably one of the number one things that we could have done because it also created more of a sense of community with people, because people can access at all hours, and if there's not very many people in there, then one, the people that are uncomfortable with working out around others because of COVID, they were able to work out whenever they wanted to mitigate the risk of catching COVID as well. So that was another thing that we could create for people. And it created a better sense of community with people, because people then started really getting to know each other a little bit more when they saw each other. So all in all, creating a 24-hour access platform, and then, bettering our Wi-Fi for our members so they're able to also work and work out at the same time.
Thank you. And so the technology piece really enabled you to make the pivot, sounds like, or the change. That was critical in your perspective. I'm curious about, what about you? Like, what role did technology play in making this transition easier from, like, brick and mortar, we're open, to now it's virtual? You mentioned social media, but was there anything else?
And I'm sorry, was that a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
While the wind's blowing across my face. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, by nature, I tend to thrive in chaos. It's kind of how I work best. I won't admit that usually, but so 2 years in, I'd managed. Really, COVID was my second year in business, and it had doubled. So I was very fortunate. But then after that storm settled and people were starting to dress up, more and more people were starting to go out, I had to sit back and think, because I kind of had to reevaluate my whole business model, because now I'm not in that fast-paced craziness anymore. And I kind of had to reevaluate and find something that would be a little bit more sustainable. So, for us also, ice storms and other things could come into play where our store may be temporarily closed. But, so we decided, I knew for myself, my brick and mortar was doing well. I had 8 employees and I had kept them all. So it was doing great, but I had to find a way to take all of those platforms that I had jumped on and create like a selling channel, like a sales platform for them, so where they could actually shop from all of those. And I think that it was a little bit of a humbling experience, because you had to sit back, and I think most small business owners can relate, but you kind of feel compelled to do it all. So I had to realize that I'm not Wonder Woman and I can't do it all. So I kind of had to sit back and think, okay, how would a CEO kind of work through this as opposed to that hustling entrepreneur that I had been? And web development and coding are not my jam. I'll admit that. So, but I needed to find a system that somehow would connect with all of those channels and also still manage my inventory that was in the store that had now been opened. So I luckily was referred to a company called Oski Blue, who works on e-commerce, and that is their specialty. And we completely redesigned my entire website. We connected it to a new point of sale system, and now all of those channels that I had mentioned all have now become selling platforms. So you can actually go on to any one of those platforms, maybe, with our email campaigns or with a Facebook or Instagram, and you can actually click on, the new hot item I'm posting, and you can click on that and it will get shipped directly to your house anywhere in the country with just a click of the mouse, or your phone. So that worked, and I was still able to use my expertise of kind of styling by saying, hey, this is how you can complete that look, or 7 different ways to wear this blazer, and still kind of have that personal, intimate experience with the customers. So we managed, but it worked.
That sounds like the technology piece and all these new integrations really almost just created different revenue streams and really shifted your business model, which is amazing.
Yeah, so now instead of that one business, like that one form of revenue, now I have 6 different sources of revenue. Yeah. So it's helped.
If there's any small business owners listening, you might be like, oh my gosh, I've had so many challenges, but challenge can also open the door for new opportunities, right?
100%.
And so challenge is to think of the problem a different way, and then hence here you go.
Absolutely, 100%.
So Brian, what about you? So you mentioned the check-in piece, but now what's been the outcome? We also know you recently relocated your gym, so that's a new
relocated my gym and So that was a big thing I was worried about, because we are kind of like a high-end boutique style gym that, we have a kind of upper echelon membership pricing. So I wasn't sure as far as, because we have, really nice equipment, expensive equipment, that sort of thing, was creating 24-hour access conducive to what we were offering, or would I have issues with people stealing things? And what I've discovered is having that sort of pricing model that we have actually makes it your risk of people stealing stuff a lot less. So that's just something that I had to deal with, was are people going to do things that are going to hurt my business or make my business look bad? So another thing we had to integrate in there was a very secure security system, where I can just pull up my phone, cross-check with video, as well as somebody accessing the front door, all at the same time, to see who's coming in. And it's made it pretty great, to where I can sit from my living room and check it without having to pull out my computer.
Amazing. And it's the power of technology, right?
Power of technology.
Power of connectivity, that you can really run your business from anywhere. Which is wonderful. So that being said, Roshan, let's switch over to you for a minute. Tell us about how technology can reduce the friction for customer experience overall. What have you seen with Square, with your offerings and things like that?
Yeah, so I think one of the common threads we've heard, both from Kara and Brian, is that especially with small businesses, it's still ultimately about people, right? We're not talking about platforms where it's all faceless and anonymous. In Kara's case, I think she mentioned that leave the heavy lifting to the automation of the computers and introduce the people for where they matter, for the styling advice, for the curation, the guidance, and the experience. And so that, to me, is kind of like the overarching theme and how we try to approach it. Take the complex things that, to be honest, small businesses never start because they want to learn about cost of goods sold and accounting conventions, right? You start because you have a passion for fitness or for beauty and wellness. And so allowing small businesses to focus on what they love, the way you get there is by making these complicated things easy to understand. So there's definitely something to be said about education, right? Showing people what the right way is to track inventory, or what the right way is to what you have to think about when you sell online, right? Because every social platform has different rules, different obligations, so that you don't run afoul of their shipping expectations and whatnot. And then I think a lot of it has to do with being very intentional about how your brand comes across to your customers, and making sure that that's consistent. So one of the nice things that technology platform can do is make sure that your in-store experience that you can touch and feel and interact with really has an effective way to translate, whether it's selling on Instagram or TikTok or live streaming. And it's ultimately technology that allows you to, get your logos where they have to go. Make sure that, your policies and whatever else you stand for as a brand, as a company, really translate to those other channels. And this is where technology shines, There was a time when folks used to look at automation as, kind of like a dirty word, but the truth is, it's exactly, I think what we're hearing is exactly what I was saying. Leave the computers to do what they're good at and free the people up to do what they're best at.
Yeah, I love that. And it's just the reality with us. As being a small business owner, you're normally doing the jobs of multiple humans anyways, right? So anything that will help alleviate that is so powerful, and technology is definitely that. And Jennifer, what have you seen?
I think Roshan is right on that technology should create a simple, seamless experience. And so there's 4 things I think of business owners should think about with technology and helping their business. The first, it all starts with fast, reliable, and secure connectivity. So you need enough bandwidth to power your business. No one likes a sluggish website or glitchy video, things like that. So getting the right connectivity solution is really important. Once you get that, then you want to empower your team with mobile devices. Just like we heard, you can check your security cameras from your couch. That's amazing. So making sure all of your team is empowered with mobile devices helps improve response time, helps improve productivity overall. And so that's number 2. Number 3 is around security. Often overlooked, but security is really critical to businesses, both from a physical asset standpoint, like you described, but also from a information asset standpoint. And I think of security like an investment in your brand. Mm-hmm. Like everyone's kind of one big hack away from a brand impacting issue where you need to have the investments to secure your customer information and your business information. Right? And finally, your website is really critical. Like everyone really has talked about, right? You've got to make it simple and seamless. You need to have a good buy flow online. And you need to make sure it's mobile, because more and more people, as Kara described, is interacting on their mobile devices. And so making sure it's mobile enabled is really important. And so really it's all about that. So technology should do the heavy lifting to make it easier for our small business owners and customers to interact with our businesses and grow our brands and our businesses.
Amazing. And that's so true. If there's anybody watching, definitely look at the data analytics of where the traffic's coming towards your site and what device people are looking at it on. So if you haven't taken the time to do that, definitely check. And most certainly it's going to be mobile first these days. Yeah. Yeah, so you've seen it as well, right? Both of you have, yeah. Or they find you through social or for other channels. Like the reality of somebody sitting at their desktop finding you is now reduced quite a bit.
It's like I was discussing with Roshan earlier. One of the things I did with my website, and one of the approaches I took, was understanding the way social media platforms work and the reason why they work, and it's by catching people's attention span in a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So you see the videos, TikTok videos, Instagram story videos, those are 15 seconds, 10 seconds, and they capture people's attention really quickly. So how do you do that with your website? One is creating a website that's very quick, that doesn't take a long time to load. 2 is don't have a lot of busy words on there. Don't confuse people. 3, put in those 10-second videos. Capture someone's attention, and then throw the words in to really hold them there. So that's one of the things that we did with our website, is capture people's attention. Technology is what does it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Once you have their attention, make it as short as possible to go all the way through the buy flow. Right?
Right? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I just wanted to pick up on that attention span topic, because I think it also circles back to the messaging aspect we talked about earlier. Because people are constantly multitasking and switching between different activities during the day, whether it's a customer that wants to learn more about a product, make an impulse buy decision, or an employee that just forgot to run inventory, forgot to upload a report. Messaging and mobile tools actually allow us to take action in those moments where we want to either engage in a transaction or we want to connect back to our business. And it kind of, in a lot of ways, is liberating, because we know that you don't have to be tethered to your physical location to do all those things. It can just, as inspiration strikes, you can just strike up the conversation and get something done.
That's a wonderful point and very, very true. So let's talk about the future a bit. So how can small businesses position themselves to deliver greater customer experience in the future, leveraging technology let's just carry on with that thread. And let's start with you, Jennifer.
Sure. I know all small business owners, I know when I did a startup, it was all about the customer experience and people. And so all of the transformation we've seen in the last couple of years has been about that. How do we make it better for customers? How do we make it better for our employees and making money? Of course, that's the second most important thing, maybe the first. So when you think about all the investments that we've made with the automated check-in and mobile interactions and all of the stuff that we've done in the last couple of years to transform that experience, that's all here to stay. Mm-hmm. All of those changes are better for customers, they're better for employees, and so I don't see us going backwards. No. So then it's, okay, from here, what do we think might happen? And so increasingly what we see is customers want to interact with us in different ways at different points. So maybe sometimes they want to interact with us digitally via a website or a chat or something like that. Other times they want a live interaction in store, in the gym, like a physical interaction. And more often we're seeing they want to traverse between those in a seamless way. Roshan mentioned omnichannel earlier. That's the fancy word for that.
Yes.
And so when you think about technology, it really is about how do we use technology to connect those different channels in a way that's seamless for customers. So if you start online or you have a chat and then you call or visit, how do we not start from the beginning of the story? How do we pick up right where you left off and complete that? So as I think about where technology can help going forward, it's around connecting these and really enriching the experiences to make it even better for customers. So give them a choice of how they want to interact with your business, allow them to create the relationship that they want, and then leverage technology to really bring that to life and make it simple and seamless. And all of these investments in improving the customer experience that we've seen the past couple of years, just like the ones we'll make in the future, are really about helping differentiate your business. And they'll pay off. So it's easier to keep a customer. It's hard work, and it's cheaper to continue an existing relationship than get a new one.
Yeah.
And those existing customers usually spend more money with you overall, and so it's really important to do that. And so understanding how your customers want to interact with you, investing in the technology to create that connectivity, make it simple and seamless, will help continue to drive productivity, differentiate your business, and build brand loyalty, which will be important for future growth.
I love the point, just thinking about technology also in like the customer journey and keeping the customer, making it more simple for the importance of data, right? And how technology also helps us learn more about our customers.
Right.
And so that becomes a really critical piece because you can actually capture more about their behaviors and like where they're at and how to connect with them on a regular basis versus a one and done transaction that they just come into your brick and mortar store and then that's it. That's done, right? You want to be able to keep that.
Yeah, Kara's talking about all the interactions on various social media platforms. How can you use that data to better, create new engagements going forward next time they show up in your store, for example?
Exactly.
So it's really an exciting area to go and kind of connect all those pieces. Now that they exist, how do we combine them and make it simple and seamless for customers so we can grow?
They're creating a pre-pandemic hybrid version of life. People,
Yes.
Yes.
And Roshan, what do you see for the future and what you're developing and what you're seeing and hearing back from your customers?
Yeah, so just picking up on that last point with using the data and those patterns to inform where things are headed, I think a real key here is experimentation. I think it was touched on earlier that there's a lot of risk. We don't really know. Like even now, as people are coming back from pandemic and in-person interactions are starting to pick back up again, we don't yet know how that's going to play out and which of the pandemic shifts are going to stick around. And so experimenting becomes the key. You have to try new things, and you constantly have to be learning and pulling back information about, am I reaching my customers in the way that I want to? Are they experiencing my brand and my values the way I want them to on these platforms? And that could be surveys, it could be just, you see a lot of, post-purchase follow-ups, right? Like, did that meet your expectations? Was that what you expected? And I kind of feel like that experimentation is here to stay because, yes, attention is increasingly shifting towards social media, but which platform is it? It's going to change over time. There's going to be new ones. A lot of times, they can be generational or other sort of splits there. So it's also about, are you trying to reach your existing customers and you know where they spend their time? Yep. Are you trying to broaden your reach and you're trying to, find new audiences that you didn't reach out to before? So maybe that's a different platform. So I think it's experimenting in a way that, is very deliberate, right? Not a shotgun approach where you're trying to do everything all at once because, as you all know, you could burn out very quickly trying to keep on top of all those different threads. Right. But I think that's kind of a lot of the future strategy that I would expect from small business is to try some things with an end goal in mind. What do I expect to happen? What kind of sales am I looking for? What kind of engagement do I want? And then measure to make sure that it's panning out the way you want. One thing that I'm personally excited for as we come back to in-person is a lot more of experiential in-store retail or boutique experiences where folks are starting to do more with, selling some clothing, but also it's a coffee shop, or maybe there's a local band that comes in to perform on weeknights. Building more of a bridge between, artisans and small businesses in the community to come together in one common space, because that to me is, again, one of the best parts of small business is that it really connects communities together. So I personally am excited for experiential retail.
That's
I think too, it's knowing your numbers, right? Having that technology that you can know your numbers, so you can say, okay, that event worked really well. Having that band worked great,
Sure.
or doing those things,
Yeah.
or if you know your numbers and you have the technology to run those reports, I think that's
Yeah. I mean, data can also be one of those things that goes up with the, accounting and finance piece that a lot of small business owners are like,
You gotta know your numbers, though.
Yeah, but you have to know the data, right? To know if it's actually working and if you're getting the results that you're hoping for. Because otherwise, it is, like you said, it's like this, widespread approach and you can't do it all.
Yeah, it's a great point. One of the things that I'm excited about is not just showing data to business owners and like reports, but making it actionable.
Yeah.
So some of the things that, for example, we've been working on at Square is, if you can see how quickly your inventory is moving, maybe things that aren't moving so quickly, you get a prompt. It's time to discount it. It's time to maybe see if you can sell it on a different platform or run a promotion to customers that might want it. And in the same way, if something's selling very fast, you can't sell it if you don't have it. So maybe it's time to generate a purchase order and get that thing in ahead of time so that you always have it on hand for folks. And so I think as long as we can find a way to connect the data to actions, it's gonna make the whole thing seamless.
Yeah, perfect. And you brought up a point about platforms. Maybe you've also both seen this, right? That platforms, you have to meet people where they are. So you're not all of even though the TikTok might be super popular, your customers might not be on TikTok, and that might not be the best way to reach them. So it's really understanding their behaviors and what they like, what they enjoy, because it's different for every single business. And to your point, if you're trying to reach new customers, then it's like, oh, I've never used that before. Maybe I need to if I want to reach X customer. So are you experimenting with platforms at the moment, or do you think you have it pretty dialed in what's working?
Well, I think you're always experimenting.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think what you said, you're always changing. It's finding that right technology that'll allow you to evolve and kind of allow you to make those changes when it's time to pivot. And if you know those numbers, then you can say, okay, well, I got this many likes on something, but that didn't actually generate any revenue, then it may not be working. So you actually need to know which stuff is actually generating revenue for it to figure out which platforms you want to invest your time in.
Brian?
One of the things that I like to look at is looking at my demographic and what they want. So my existing members, they're going to tell me what they want. So give them a QR code and give options of what equipment do you want in here, or what things do you want to experience. If you can get the feedback, then you know how to target them. And just understanding your audience. Like if you can understand your audience, you're golden. You should be able to get a lot more customers and retain your customers.
Perfect.
More cost-efficient way too, because now you're not having to scattershot.
Everything's
You
about
can direct
efficiency.
investments exactly where it's going to generate yield.
I know I look at fast food restaurants. I kind of look up to them, not because of the food they serve, but because of the processes they created. If you look at their processes, that's why they succeed, is because of their processes. They don't have great food. Yes, it's dirty good food, but at the same time, it's one of those things where their processes make them the most efficient and best business.
I think you're just trying to get us to go to the gym. Eat a bunch of
That's
pasta.
right. Kind of that reverse psychology.
Well, Karen and Brian, you both have obviously been extremely adaptable. You've had to be. You're seeing success in your business as a result. So what piece of advice would you give to a small business owner, entrepreneur that's listening, who maybe is still struggling or having challenges in this space? What would be a piece of advice you'd give? And Carol, I'll start with you.
Okay. So I have a few, if that's okay. This one I did take a few notes on. But, just in the growth, just in the last year alone, I think changing that technology and that digital presence and finding people that were experts at that just completely changed the game for me. So it allowed my brick and mortar quadrupled in numbers in the last year, and then my online, I actually just moved as well. So tripled my space in October, and my online has grown to over 300% in online sessions. So it's gone up tremendously. So I think when you speak from a point of advice, I don't always know where to start, but I'm going to start first from the heart, which would say first, I think it's really knowing your why and letting that be your guiding light and having that stay as your foundation. So you kind of set that bar, and no matter where you go, no matter how big you get, no matter how many people you hire, always refer back to that standard and that bar that you had set, like he mentioned with the restaurant, that process, having that be that bar. And I think listening to your customers and understanding your customers is important. I think people want to do business with people, like I said. So if you listen to the people that do business with you, they'll tell you what will be the easiest. And so, and like I kind of tell my employees, it's not always comfortable because change is inevitable. Yeah. So you kind of got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Does that make sense?
It does.
And then my second piece of advice, which like I said, I took notes on this one, but I would also say, and this is kind of starting a little bit of what Roshan said, but I think it's also getting good. Don't try to do everything at once. I think you're going to get overwhelmed, and then you're not going to probably tackle any of it. So take a few things, get really good at it, and then you can expand. And then take a few more things and get really good at it. And once you master that, then you can expand. And that kind of what allows you to kind of, if you can do that, then you can continue to expand by just taking those steps and then growing. And with that kind of leaves you nimble and allows you to adapt when needed.
Yeah, perfect. And going back to the why piece, because I tell every businesses, it doesn't matter if like massive businesses, the why will be constant. How you achieve that why will always change. So let that be your guiding star, if you want to call it that. And that's what keeps you grounded also. And that's what gives you the motivation when things get really hard and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. How am I supposed to do this? Or like, oh, one more big challenge. Like that why, that purpose, like gives you inevitable like energy that comes out of nowhere, right? Because it comes from the heart.
Why, and kind of what Jennifer alluded to too, if you listen to that, plus you listen to your customers and you work on that seamless process and you do what the customers are sharing with you, like, hey, that experience didn't work for me. You need to change it. That was a user experience. That was a problem. You can make all the excuse, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Like, it happened. So you need to know and you need to fix that. And I think you do those things, the money comes.
Perfect. Yeah. And Brian, what advice would you give?
Yeah, I mean, the why is a big one. Like that's where your passion comes from. Getting into business, like I have a passion for business, but I also had a passion for fitness. But it's one of those things, you're going to have your road bumps. You're going to have your down times. You're going to get kicked, stomped, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have it. I've been in this business for 10 years. I've seen about everything so far. I thought, and I haven't. Pandemic, I really saw stuff. But it is like you have to have that why, but you also have to have that drive, and you got to push through it. You got to know that there is an upside to your hard work. Yeah. And if you give up, that's quitting. We don't quit.
Yeah.
Small business owners don't quit.
And it could always evolve, right? So, you have to listen to the data, to what you're seeing, right? If something's not working, like, by all means, do not run yourself into the ground for something that's not working. But maybe, again, connecting to that why helps you determine what that next pivot is, what that next evolution is. And I know for me personally with She Ventures, like, that totally happened. It evolved from an event series into a social enterprise serving female entrepreneurs and leaders around the world. And, you have to just kind of, again, listen to your customers and keep really tuning in to what's working, what's not, but also being practical and looking at the data, because that's also speaking to, and like, let's all get real. We all, we need abundance and livelihood, and we need to be able to thrive, right? And being in survival mode is part of being a small business owner, but you hope it's not the entire journey of your small business owner experience, right? That's just
like working with, whether you're working with experts or you know how to work your system and you know how to know, but knowing your numbers and making that more efficient so that you're not spending so many hours a day going, why is this not working? Well, have you looked? Have you realized that maybe your engagement isn't working here, or maybe that's not working? Maybe I need to try this, or I need to get an expert out to help me with that, so that way you can stay successful.
Well, thank you both so much for those valuable tips. I want to give just a moment because we kind of dropped a little teaser that there was an amazing partnership and offer coming through from AT&T Business and Square. So I would love to hear more about that, and we can share that with the audience and how they can learn more.
Yeah, sure. Well, I start. So we have an exciting offer because all of our small businesses need fast, reliable, and secure connectivity. And all the small businesses need a way to process payments and earn revenue. And so what better way to serve those needs by joining together for a unique offer for our AT&T Business Fiber customers that add Square will get up to $10,000 towards the processing fees that you will otherwise incur when you're just running your normal business. So it's a fantastic offer. You want to add on to it?
Yeah, no, I really would just echo that. It's a really great opportunity for us to join forces to make business needs more turnkey than ever before. To put these things together, you need connectivity, you need a way to take payments and manage your business, and having it all in one place. Again, making it seamless, making it easy. Small businesses out there, I think Kara said it really well. When time gets hard, times get tough. Think like a CEO. What would a CEO do? You delegate to your partners. If you find a couple of trusted technology partners that have your back, that can make sure that you have everything you need to succeed, I think you're good.
Excited to team up with you guys.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you so much, all of you, for this amazing conversation. Thanks for everyone watching on the live stream and for being here to kick off Small Business Week. Go support a local small business this week for sure. It's super, super important. And let's keep the conversation going. So they've given me a website, att.com/smallbiz. BIZ, to learn more about the offer and to just learn more about everything happening this week and how AT&T Business is supporting small business. And we're going to be hanging around a little bit, so if you want to connect with us, you can, for those that are here. But I want to give a moment to Kara and Brian. How do people find you? If you want to give website, link, or Instagram, social media handles, how can people connect with you? First.
So our website is www.paradigmgyms.com. Instagram, just @paradigmgyms. And my personal is @Casad44. So that's how you find me.
Thank you. And Kara?
Well, like I said, I've got lots of options. But karadiceboutique.com is our website, as well as our Instagram, which we're very active on. So we're posting all day, all hours of the day. And then we've also got Facebook. And with all this new technology, we're also doing live selling. So very excited to announce that we are going to be launching a rewards program this month. So for all those customers that I mentioned will be nationwide that probably won't step foot in my store, this is a way to retain those customers, like you said, a more efficient way. And also support our loyal customers. So, and then we'll also have an app. So stay tuned for our Karadise app.
Wonderful. And so thank you again for having me. It was wonderful to host this conversation, and to all the small business owners watching and entrepreneurs watching, all the best in your journey. You have such a big impact, as we kicked off the conversation with, for the economy, for jobs, for everything. So thanks for all you do. Thank you. Thank you. All right.